Hey, so I kind of got a little heated in this video, like really heated. So, just a warning that if you click on this video for someone who's like very like cool-headed and calm, that's not going to be this video because I am basically yelling the whole entire time and I do think I'm right and I will die on this hill. So, thank you very much for listening to my TED Talk. The context in which this conversation is happening is important because we're not just in this dream world where everybody is nice to each other and then we're having debates over these topics, right? Real people are getting hurt. Real people are being attacked every day. Real people, like, these discussions are happening all of the time. And so I think that's what's really important to understand and contextualize is like this is happening whilst we're in the middle of like a war, like people are fighting over this constantly. So to say that you want body neutrality in a world where people are being viciously attacked over their weight all of the time, social media, around, like, discriminated in the workplace, like, you'll look at someone who's overweight and you'll automatically judge them pretty dang harshly. And the best you'll get is, like, silent judgments. The worst you'll get is, like, harassment. So in a perfect world where we're all nice to each other and we're not actively still fighting in this war, neutrality is nice, right? Neutrality is a good thing to aim for. Because the idea of the body neutrality is like, well, you don't really comment on people's bodies and, we just let people live in their own bodies and we don't need to be overly harsh, but we don't need to be overly positive. But I would argue that in a space where there's so much overwhelmingly negative stuff all of the time that is positioned as if it's helping people. Since when has shame ever helped people? You're like, oh, I'm helping people. Also, if you were helping people, you would be coming from a place of concern and empathy. And if you were coming from a place of concern and empathy, then you would not be so violent and harsh and nasty. If you really cared about this person, this random person that you've met online or you've met in person who's overweight, if you really cared about them, then you wouldn't be behaving this way. So when people are actively being, like, discriminated against because of weight, right? It's like, okay, we do want neutrality, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with positivity. People like to think it's like, oh, it's like encouraging obesity. But when we think about what obesity is happening and why it happens in the epidemic, is obesity happening because of people encouraging and loving other people? There's always going to be outliers. There's always going to be people that take it too far. But in a world where the majority of people are taking it too far, like in a harsh direction, people are taking it too far in a bad direction, I would rather have like a lot of people speaking up about body positivity and some people taking it too far but still have those positive voices, because it's important for people to not lose hope. One of the hardest things about losing weight and like being on a weight loss journey is not giving up, because it's a really long process to actually lose weight. People are like, oh, just like don't eat or eat significantly less. But when you're losing weight, you are making a lifestyle change. You're not just momentarily changing your body. Your goal is to change your body for a lifetime. And these habits, whatever reasons you have to behave the way you do, are probably pretty big and pretty valid and also really long-standing. So to get rid of those other habits and replace them with harder habits, it's an uphill battle that takes a long time. Sure, you could just not eat and lose all that weight. The second you eat again, you gain all the weight back, because that's not a healthy way to do it. To sustainably lose weight, it takes a long time, and it takes consistency and effort and motivation. And body positivity, like when you hate yourself, that's when it's hard to lose weight. When you hate yourself, hate is not a long-term motivator. In the short term, it can do things it encourages self-harm. It can do things that will hurt you. But in the long term, what really heals people is love. And that sounds so corny and stupid. But like, sure, I would love it if people were neutral about other people's bodies and we didn't have to pick each other apart. But since we're actively in a war, we should be able to fight back with positivity and love and be like, hey, even if you're not healthy right now, you can still be beautiful and loved. No matter what ailment you're dealing with, you can still be loved. And you can look at somebody and think you understand what's going on with them, but you do not know if their body is a healthy body by looking at them. You, like, literally don't know that. That's so stupid. So, I'm very heated. So, it's like, we are fighting right now, right? And we've just been, like, attacked again and again with, like, somebody shooting at us again and again and again. Okay? Right? So we put up a shield, and sometimes the bullets ricochet back. Like, now things are going back the other way maybe too far, and they're like, whoa, 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 guys, let's just calm down. Meanwhile, there's still gunfire raining down on us. Like, sure, I would love to calm down when the dust has settled, but neutrality is not really an option right now, and we're still fighting for ourselves to, like, dismantle this, like, self-hate. A lot of people gain weight because of self-hatred. To feed into that is so stupid. If you really cared about people's bodies, which you do not, you would be advocating for people to love themselves, because when you love yourself, you're motivated to make time for yourself, to take care of yourself. Those are things that contribute to losing weight, right? Yeah. And you don't know why someone is overweight. You don't know what medical conditions go into that. Some people can't lose weight, no matter how hard they try. They have different conditions. Some people have just given birth to literal children. And then you're going to tell that person to lose freaking weight, like their body isn't the coolest thing ever because they just gave birth to a literal life, and that's why it's none of your freaking business? I'm a little bit heated. At the end of the day, like, neutrality would be great if we weren't actively suffering right now. So what we need in a world full of hate is positivity. So love yourself at every freaking size. If you're not eating enough, you can still love yourself while you heal. If you're eating too much, you can still love yourself while you heal. If you're sick, if you're disabled, if you're anything, you're still beautiful. You're still awesome. Beauty is freaking subjective. These, like, conditions that have been put on us are so freaking subjective. Like, who the frick cares? So body positivity for the freaking win. Just saying.